G'day, I'm Clive and welcome. Noticed on one of the backpacks the webbing stitching coming down the shoulder strap is coming undone, so I'm going to have a go at repairing that. Now I don't want it coming all the way through the stitching and ruining the padding and the actual ventilation part, so I'm going to have to unstitch all the way down here enough to be able to fold it back to get it in the sewing machine. Okay, what I'm going to be using to do this repair is, now I'm not a professional machinist and I don't know what it's going to be like sewing through here. So what I've done to increase the strength of it, let's say, so it doesn't tear through the actual backpack or the shoulder strap material itself, I don't know what's behind here yet to have a look, but I've bought some iron-on mend, if it's called. It's just to add a second layer on the inside underneath this material, just to help prevent the stitching pulling through. Don't know if I need it, but I'm going to do it just in case. Now I've got three. That's the worst on there. That's just starting to come loose, and that one also is starting to come loose. All the rest of the stitching on everywhere else is ideal. But what I might do is, with the little loose bits here, just go over with a lighter and melt them all down on both sides, just so I know that they're not going to come undone. And this is what I'm going to need to unpick all the stitching. One of these, don't know what they're called, I'll just call it a picker or thread picker or thread unpicker. So if you know the name of that, let me know in the comments. So before I start there, I'm just going to go over and I'm just going to lightly melt all the threads. Just touch it. Being careful not to melt anywhere else. Don't want to melt anything or damage it. The best part about doing this with this nylon thread that I've used is when it melts, I'm just pushing it and that becomes part of the actual other thread that's there, so it's not going to unravel. Or if it does, it's not going to unravel as easy. So that's the webbing all the way down here. So, yeah, all the way down that side's done. Well, I'll sew them after. So yeah, let's get this couple of loose pieces of cotton here, or thread. I'll just melt any loose bits here on the parts I'm going to repair, just so they don't come undone anymore. And this top one is, they haven't, I don't know what you'd call it, finished it off at the end, so it's just come loose. And to make the stitching, it's normally like a zigzag up and down, but close next to each other, give you that bar stitch, I think it's called. But they haven't spaced it properly, so the actual zigzag, instead of going like this, it's actually going wider spaces. So let's get this done. Now that bit won't come undone anymore, let's melt it into the actual webbing. So look, got a slight bit there. And when that's actually hot still, I'm pushing it into the webbing strap itself, so it becomes part of that. I'm not pushing it onto the actual material of the shoulder strap. Just doing that looks a lot better. Right, next job is unpicking the thread down here. Now the first one is here, but I want to be able to fold it back, so I'm going to have to undo the stitching up to this point and probably down to there. So there's a good amount I need to unpick. Now I've got the first couple of stitches on the top of this. What I found is easy is I actually pulled it up and I'm pulling the stitches from behind this hem, I think you call it. It's difficult to show you on the camera, hold this and pick at the same time. I've unpicked the hem, but when I've got below the hem I found they've actually stitched the actual front to the back, the padding underneath the hem, so I'm going to have to unpick all that now before I can do any repairs. And the stitching that holds the webbing on is only stitched through the webbing and the actual material itself, so it looks and feels pretty strong, this material, a lot thicker and stronger than I thought it was. I've got to clean all these little bits where I've just unpicked it. So when it comes to putting it all back together again, see the thread, it's going to be a double task. Stitching through them two first, and then putting that together with that and the hem, then stitching them all back together to make a shoulder strap. Like I said, never done this before. Not a seamstress or a machinist or anything like that. I think it's just a bit of common sense, and take your time and keep your eyes open and watch what you're doing. And cleaning up as you go so it's nice and tidy for when you put it back together. It takes a few minutes doing this part. It's going to make it a lot easier. Hopefully a lot easier putting it back together. Yeah, there we go. The repairs are going to be there, there and there, but that's been undone down to that point and up to there. So now when it goes in the machine, stitch, it's going to be awkward, fair enough, but I'm going to have just enough to get it in and out. Okay, the sewing machine I'm using is just a standard machine as it comes straight from the shop. Got all the little bits and bobs here. So I've got it set to, where are we? Number 3 for the zigzag. And close the measurements off to number 1 to get the same width of the actual stitching. Number 1 on this side, so they're actually basically right next to each other rather than being with a big gap going between. I've got the cotton through, all set up. Now the fun bit. Oh, like I said, I've got to cut this, haven't I, first, and put it in place before I start stitching. This stuff is an iron-on mender. It's just if you want to iron on and fix some simple holes. I don't know if it's going to work on this, but I'm not going to iron it on. Oh, it's longer than I thought. So I'm just going to cut a couple of strips, put it behind so it's going through this as well as the actual fabric of the backpack, just to give it a little bit more strength, let's say. I won't be putting much more on there than 3/4 of a kilo or a kilo for the water bottle holder, that's all. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see how far that will reach. Will it do all three? 1, 2, 3. Actually, one piece will do all three. So basically that's going to sit like that, but behind in here. Only 12mm webbing straps. Right, let's see if we can get this put in place without losing everything. Position. Oh no, let's get some needles. Or pins, sorry, they're called pins, aren't they? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here they are. Get a couple of these in place. It'll save me having to fiddle around holding it all at the same time. See? Let's come through this way. Cool, that's holding the top of it there. Let's put one about halfway. Nice, nice, nice. One, 2, 3. Yep, that's enough. Didn't need the second piece. Feels quite. I think that's going to be strong enough. Like I said, it's only to stop the stitching coming through or putting too much strain on here. Just to share the strain between this and that. Okay, let's see. So let's start with the top one, the worst one first. Drop that down into place. Double check. Yep, that's lined up. Drop that down. On the cotton. And pray this works. Let's have a look. Back down there. Hey, it worked. Like I said, I'm not a seamstress or anything, but it came through there. I can just mount all this so it's not going to unravel. that is a lot stronger. Now let's get that one and that one touched up. Going back now. Even nicer. Even nicer. Cleaner job, that one. Just a bit too close to the camera for you to see properly. That was a bit messy, did the job. That was a lot cleaner. Nice straight line. And I just got one more to do there. A lot of respect for the people that do this, putting these packs together. Made a slight mistake, I've pulled the material. Can we undo it? Nope, that's alright, sorted. Let's bring it back over to here. Right, we've got that one done, and that one done. And you can see what I've done. This comes through that material into this material, and this material is just giving it more strength. So theoretically that should last longer. So now it's just trim these, melt them down, and probably the harder part is putting it all back together. So I caught a bit of the actual material and pulled it in there. That's okay. Trim that one, trim that one. Get the trusty bic. Mount these down. Mount it down. Mount it down, so that's all part of the actual webbing now. That part was easy. Awkward. I suppose it's easier because the actual, this isn't on, or that. That's all put on afterwards. But we got that done. Now, got to stitch the padding and the air venting bit together first, and then bring this over, put the hemming around and re-stitch it, so hopefully it looks something like this. It's in place, drop that down. Now fingers crossed. What I'm going to have to do now before I carry that on is change it back to a straight stitch, which is number 2 on there, and that goes to 0, and do that on number 2 for the length of the stitch. I'm doing some trimming off some of the original stitching here, just so it's tidier. And there we go, that's that first lot of sewing done down there. So now that's all in. So I think what next is I'll put another one down and then I'll do the hem. I'm just doing the next one a couple of mil over, so it's got twice as much strength hopefully. It may not be necessary, but we're going to do it just for peace of mind. I did that one. Let's get this thread out of the way. Drop that down, lock that in place, and off we go again. Back stitch couple, lock that in, or locking stitch I think that's called. I'm having to do the hem or the edging. Like I said, I don't know what it's called. Again, if I'm saying anything wrong, correct me. Which is the bit that has to make it look pretty, make it look nice. So, fingers crossed. Here we go. Not as good as the original stitching, but it's done the job. Oh, I'm happy with that. Suppose I could have folded it more inside to give it a slimmer actual, yeah, a couple of mil over more. Right, let's get the magic lighter and clean all these bits of thread up. Or secure. Not as good as the original side, but it works, it's done the job. And it's all, no pulling away, it's not loose. A little bit short with the padding. The padding's here and on the other one it's there. So, like I said, about, what's that, 3 mil? 2.5, 3 mil away. All works okay though. There's the strap pouches now. Feeling a lot more secure having that in there. There's my other water bottle. This one is 5, 6, probably 7, just over 700 mil. Sits in there nice. Yeah, all good, all good. I'm confident with that now. So that's my first ever attempt at repairing the webbing on my shoulder straps. A lot of work had to go into that. We had to clean the stitching off, and we had to unpick this hem part, and we had to unpick a row that holds the actual back padding and the material to this, and then I had to unpick another row also, and then I had to do everything in reverse once I'd stitched the actual webbing across. And the most awkward part, believe it or not, was the end of that. I had to cut that off to get it back through the buckle for the shoulder strap. So I had to use the handy multi-tool to hold it as I stitched through and came back. All complete. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have and you're not a subscriber, please go down below and click on the subscribe button. click on the notification bell next to it and select all, so you can be notified of all future videos. And if you are already a subscriber, again, I thank you very much. And hit the like button and the thumbs up.